If you take somebody who feels like they have a barrier, no matter what it is, and you can get them in the outdoors to climb a mountain or raft a river, then all those normal things around you, like going back to school or getting a job or even just going to the mailbox, it doesn't seem as hard, because if you can summit a mountain, you can make it to your mailbox.
In some ways, I am kind of underestimated. Just treat me the way you treat anybody else that you'd find.
We all have something different, but it doesn't get in our way. That things are possible, and let's go do it.
I've always kind of had the philosophy, if something hits you in the face, get up and keep on moving.
Homeless people, when I walk the 16th Street Mall, come up and say they're praying for me, just whatever. And I came to realize it's just a way for people to connect with me.
If you make something accessible and you give people the chance to do it, they can do it. Their disability disappears. My name is Penn Street, and we are at the YMCA of the Rockies in Estes Park, Colorado. I love the outdoors, and I love hiking and getting people with disabilities outdoors.
My name is Evan Starnes, and I will be turning 21 in October. My disability is called Leber's congenital amaurosis. It's basically a condition that affects eyesight, but it can also come with other conditions such as autism or ADHD.
There you go. Handsome as always.
We're here for the No Barrier Summit and the What's Your Everest hike. It's a fundraising hike for us as an organization.
Audio Information Network of Colorado is an amazing organization. We've been around for over 30 years.
Good job, Karen, you did it.
We were founded by a man who was blind. He wanted to bring print to life for people who are blind and visually impaired. He put together a ton of volunteers to read most of Colorado's newspapers, magazines, anything that's in print that is not accessible to somebody like me. I'm visually impaired. I'm totally blind in my right eye, and I just have a little peripheral in my left eye. There's this huge gap with people with disabilities being able to hike. It's hard to get up here unless you have a driver. So if you don't have a driver, you have to Uber or Lyft. And then just the accessibility part, like what trail do I take? What do I even take on the trail? How long is it? How hard is it? I wanted to take away those barriers and just create an amazing hike.
It's beautiful. I mean, I'd say the weather is probably like in the lower 70 degrees. It seems super sunny. It's nice and breezy. My name is Ellie White, and we are at Bible Point. Just did about a 1.5 mile or 2 mile hike up the mountain. I'm blind, but I actually have a rare genetic disorder called Wolfram syndrome that causes type 1 diabetes, progressive vision loss. It can cause progressive hearing loss. Luckily, I'm not affected by that yet. It can eventually affect your coordination and possibly even your breathing. And it's a terminal disorder with a life expectancy of 30 to 40 years old. So you just gotta do what you can while you still can do it. Technically, I was born with it, but I wasn't officially diagnosed with it until I was 7 years old. And when I was diagnosed, I was the only one in Colorado because the equipment that is needed for the diagnosis and the knowledge of this disorder is so rare. I gotta raise awareness so, medical centers can diagnose people properly, and I'm raising money to try to help find a cure and help fund research, and, I'm not going down without a fight.
Most people with eye vision problems, they have it since they were young, or it progresses as it gets worse and worse and worse. I lost mine overnight. My name is Dean Lewis. I have low vision and I have an autoimmune system disorder. It's called NMO, which stands for neuromyelitis optica. There's no known cure for this. They don't know how people get it. I was actually driving my truck at work one day, and the next day I was in the hospital blind as a bat. Before this happened, I used to go to the mountains all the time. Nowadays, not so much. These groups and these support groups allow me to come out and socialize with people who have the same problems I have. When you're at home alone, you're home alone, and I like getting out and being with people.
I think it's a good way to socialize. It's a good way to network. Usually when people lose their vision, they kind of go into this isolation and they don't socialize and they don't do what they should. And so this is a great opportunity to get out there and get some skills in. You know, if you're newly blind, you can get some orientation skills in, and you can meet other people that are in the same boat as you.
Hi there. For me, it was not only to finally get to do this event, but to spend time with my daughter. I asked my daughter when we reached a place with an overlook, I said, please just describe what you're seeing, the way you see it. And she did that, and I picture in my mind that exact what she's telling me.
There's an awful lot of information that you get just from the sense of smell and the feelings that are around, but you don't necessarily pay attention to it because vision and hearing are such strong senses, like they're so dominant. Essentially, I have vision loss and hearing loss, so a dual sensory loss referred to as being deafblind, which is secondary to having Stickler syndrome. What it is that's a degenerative connective tissue disorder. Both my parents had disabilities, and I just never thought of myself as really having one. I usually thought of myself as having to convince other people that I could do whatever it was that was needed, but I just needed to find a different way.
Stuck on the hill.
There are many ways to reach the same place.
Everybody has a different reason for being here. And this year we have over 30 blind and visually impaired people, and then we have 30 guides, volunteers that came to help guide the group. We came up with audio trekkers as our team name. When I came up to the top today and people were yelling, you know, audio trekkers over here, we're gonna do a photo. I have enough vision that I could kind of see all the blue in the shirts. It was just like the sea of blue on this rock with this gorgeous view behind them. And it really got me emotional because it's like, we can do this. So I'm proud of every single one of them. And it was so beautiful being out there with so many blind people.
3, 2, 1.
The only thing that makes somebody disabled is if they don't have access. Where if you create that access, there is no disability, no matter what it is.